So folks, please remember no eating or drinking on the shuttle buses. Our first stop is going to be the South Kaibab Trailhead.
That is a big cactus. Hey friend. Wow, look at that wreck. Got about 1.5 miles and a little over 1,100 feet of elevation to go. Let's do this.
My home is not a highway, a straight road to follow, on well-known lone pavements I roam. The Grand Canyon is always such a magnificent location to visit, and I feel very lucky to have visited it for the 3rd time. For this quick trip that was on December 27th, I hiked from the South Kaibab trailhead across the Tonto Trail up the Bright Angel Trail. This hike is a strenuous hike, and All Trails lists it at 12.5 miles. However, a lot of people have noted in the comments that the trail is more about 14 miles for that route. It is 3,400 feet of elevation loss and then gain, and it took me just over 6 hours to complete. Anytime you're dipping below the rim at the Grand Canyon, the trail should be considered as strenuous, as you descend quite easily in this reverse hike, but will quickly realize once ascending that it is very steep and there are a lot of switchbacks, so that's something to be cautious of. I'm going to link below a brochure for hiking at the Grand Canyon provided by the National Park Service in case you want to take a look at that if you are planning an upcoming trip. At the time I visited, since it is winter conditions, it was actually snowing at the rim when I left for the hike, and when I returned up to the top of the canyon, it was again quickly below freezing. At the Grand Canyon, the rim is often colder than inside the canyon itself and can vary up to 20 degrees. So that's something to keep in mind year-round, is that you want to bring appropriate layers and be prepared for the varying temperatures. This route was easy to navigate, and although it is strenuous, it is easier than heading all the way down to the Colorado Trail, going to the Phantom Lodge, and then heading up the Bright Angel Trail. You're going to save yourself about 1,200 feet of elevation gain by taking the Tonto Trail cut across. Of course, you won't go down to the Colorado River, but the benefit is that the Tonto Trail is not as heavily trafficked. In fact, I did not see a single other person along the Tonto Trail during my hike, which was a very peaceful experience. Also, the views were absolutely stunning. Now, I wish the sun would have peeked out a little bit for me while I was shooting, because capturing images on camera are always a little bit better if you have varying shades of light and dark, and there was a lot of cloud cover that day, so my images feel like they're pretty muted, unfortunately, but I still had a great time and I think it still looks beautiful. Whenever you're hiking into the Grand Canyon, there are a few tools that I would recommend bringing, special considerations, I guess. So the trails are pretty well defined in the area that I was hiking in. They are well established and well maintained, but they are still rocky. There is significant amount of exposure, and because they are so heavily trafficked, they can tend to be a little slippery with the dirt. So I would recommend having hiking shoes or hiking boots, something with more traction on the sole than a conventional sneaker. In addition, trekking poles could be a very useful tool. They can help you with stability and taking some of the pressure off of your joints and ligaments as you're descending, and then help stabilize and provide some muscular support while ascending. So that might be a consideration as well. And then during the winter months, the top or the rim of the trail, the top portion of the trail near the rim can be prone to icy conditions. So depending on the conditions that you're visiting in, having some traction devices could be something that would help ensure your safety if the trail does become icy. And although it was not like that during this trip for me, I have been at the Grand Canyon before where there was snow and ice up towards the rim, and having traction devices was very helpful during that time. Because I visited this time during the winter, the south entrance is the only entrance that is open. So I entered through the south entrance, and since I have a National Parks Pass, I did not need to pay the $35 entrance fee. I drove directly to the visitor center where I parked, and then I got on the free shuttle that took me along the orange route to the South Kaibab trailhead. There are safety modifications in place due to COVID-19 for the shuttles. You must be wearing a face mask, and they are limiting passengers to 15 per shuttle. Shuttles come every 15 to 30 minutes, and unfortunately, I did witness it to be the case that there are people that are left at the shuttle stops because the shuttles are at capacity, and they are just not able to get picked up, and so they seem to have been waiting for quite a long time. So that's something to consider when visiting during the pandemic. After I finished the hike and came up the Bright Angel Trail, I grabbed a hot cocoa from the lunchette at the Bright Angel Lodge, and it looked like the gift shop was also open. The visitor center at the Grand Canyon is not open during this time, but there is an app that's available to help you learn about the Grand Canyon, and I'm going to link below a hiking brochure that you can check out in case you're planning on visiting the Grand Canyon anytime soon for some hiking adventures. From the Bright Angel Lodge, I got on the Blue Route shuttle, and I took that back to the visitor center where my vehicle was parked. Along the trail, there were restrooms periodically, as often as one would need, and during this season, there was water along the Tonto trail that would need to be filtered, and that was from the Pipe Creek drainage, as well as at Indian Garden, there is potable water available. Since it wasn't particularly hot when I visited, carrying 1 liter for every 4 miles was sufficient for me, as is my standard, but that will vary for each individual, especially if the weather is considerably warmer. In the future, I hope to hike the Grand Canyon rim to rim to rim in a day. That's one of my goals, but for now, this was a lovely hike and I really enjoyed it. And while I work up to training for that larger endeavor in the future, I am interacting with my Facebook community called Adventure Athletes. If you'd like to join that group for some support towards your fitness goals towards outdoor adventure, then I'd be happy to have you join us, and I will link that group in the description below. I'm curious to know what time of year visiting the Grand Canyon is your favorite, so leave me a comment in the comment section of this video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed watching, and if you'd like to go a step further, I have started a Patreon page for my channel, and if you'd like to help support me with that, I will link that in the description as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.